Details you should know about the South African apartheid period. It all started in 1948 when the South African National Party took power after the general elections. Although its roots could be traced to the colonial era policies that segregated and oppressed the non-whites, the primary aim of the apartheid was to establish and maintain a system of supremacy for the white minority population in South Africa. This was accomplished by creating laws and denying political rights to non-whites in South Africa. So the idea was to classify South Africa into four parts: the whites, the Indians, the colored, and the blacks. So the system worked in a very funny manner. The whites enjoyed certain privileges, the colored enjoyed certain privileges, the Indians enjoyed certain privileges, and then the blacks, who actually owned the land, were treated in, terrible ways. There was an enforcement of segregation in different parts of the country, in healthcare, in education, in politics, as well as in residential areas and different parts of what makes a nation. Non-white citizens, especially black South Africans, were subjected to strict restrictions on their employment as well as their movements generally. The apartheid system in South Africa was championed by the National Party, especially by some of its leaders such as Hendrik Verwoerd and also B.J. Vorster. Now, both of these men were known to be some of the active voices in creating the system that segregated the blacks from the whites, especially in terms of what they can or cannot get in their own country. Sad, right? Thankfully, South Africans began to speak up, especially with the birth of the ANC, the African National Congress, a party that was led by figures such as Nelson Mandela. It wasn't just South Africans that began to speak up. Africans all over the world began to speak up for the freedom of their people. By 1980, internal pressure as well as international isolation began to crumble the apartheid system little by little, chipping away from its building blocks. So by 1990, President F.W. de Klerk announced an end to the apartheid system as well as releasing Nelson Mandela from prison. In 1994, the first multiracial elections in South Africa took place and Nelson Mandela emerged the winner. Anyway, don't forget to follow I Love Africa on all platforms, on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, as well as Twitter.